Chris Weidman and the eye pokes. Not a topic that I thought I would be on, in all fairness. I mean, we've had guys poked in the eye before. We've had some fighters that every single fight they poked somebody in the eye. You might remember Chuck Liddell. It was to the point. Coach Hackelman even made a joke about it, like call it the Hawaiian eye poke, or they're being silly. It was one of these things that happened. Or Jon Jones is known, he's got such long arms, right? He's known for putting his hand out here. Treating an opponent like a cartoon. Remember those cartoons where the guy would put his hand out? And then the other guy's forehead would be right here. He couldn't get to swinging at the air. It's like a joke. Jon will do that in a fist fight. He'll put his hand out there. But with the reaching to the forehead and doing that, seen fingers go in the eye, but we didn't talk about it once it was done. And I only share that I'm a little surprised. I'm sitting here talking to you guys, but I'm going off the headlines in our sport. And this is the headline. And there was a comment made by Matt Brown. And a similar comment, to the point that I'm going to call it the same comment, was made by Justin Gaethje. And those guys are revered. They have the right to an opinion. They're saying, man, it's not Weidman. It's not a commission and a finger poke. It's the glove. They blame the glove. So, what should be done? And other people have made similar comments, but not that have voices quite as meaningful as, say, Gaethje and Brown. And the theme of those comments is that the UFC has got to do something. UFC has got to change that glove. And it's not to absolve or pretend that the UFC does not have tremendous influence and that their request single-handedly could get it done. I get all of those things. But just to clarify, if we're being a little bit more specific, the UFC does not make gloves. There is no UFC glove. There has never been a UFC glove. And there has been prototypes and an interest from glove-making companies to go to the UFC. That is very true. I'm splitting hairs to a degree. But the idea that we've told the UFC this before, they just haven't changed the glove, and now you got to deal with the consequences, which are eye pokes, is not true. And it speaks to a larger theme that I've had to see and live within since my time in the sport. I had guys that I would be in the gym with, and they would talk about they'd want to do certain things because them training there is going to bring people into your gym, and this is a business and things like this. If you were to try to make a living, right? If your livelihood depended on bringing people into a gym that want to do mixed martial arts, based on this guy is in here and he does mixed martial arts, you're going to be broke in record time. But it's more of an idea. I only share that because the idea kind of speaks to a larger premise, like you believe that there's a glove manufacturer that is going to change a glove. Do you know what possibly goes into that? I mean, do you know what you're asking for? Like, this isn't an actual industry. There's not people out there that are buying these gloves, right, in enough droves. I share this because with boxing, we will have a negotiation over the glove. You guys might recall, but it was Mayweather versus McGregor. McGregor couldn't believe it. But Mayweather was making an argument in writing. He was appealing this. He wanted this in the contract that had to do with horsehair. The glove either needed to be made with horsehair or the glove could not be made with horsehair, and it had to be manufactured somewhere as well. He wanted it manufactured somewhere, but he wanted it specifically not manufactured. They put it in writing. One of them was Mexico, right? It needs to be made in Europe. It cannot be made in Mexico. But he put both of them in, not only where it needed to come from, with or without the horsehair, but where it could not come from, with or without the horsehair. All right, fair enough. Fair fair enough. I don't know the validity of that. Would that hold up in court? Is this a gentleman's agreement, or is a commission sanctioning that like they are the financial side, the rules side, the weight class side, the protocols? I'm just asking the question. So, why do fingers go in the eyes? And to have two guys as successful and revered as Gaethje and Brown believe it's because of the glove. So, are toes like fingers? Kinda. Do they look kinda like fingers? Can we agree on that to some degree? Because they don't have there's nothing afflicting a toe. Nothing. It's nature. And I could use that example for bare knuckle boxing, by the way. There's no glove at all. There's nothing that obstruction afflicts it, causes it to go in any direction. Cannot recall a time that I've seen somebody poked in the eye in bare knuckle boxing. I trust that it's happened. I cannot recall a time that I've seen it. I cannot recall a time that I've ever seen a toe go in somebody's eye. I trust that it's happened. I can't recall a time. And I'm sure that's just pure volume with the feet, right? For every 10 punches that are going towards somebody's face where the eyes are, there's only one kick. But if that is the argument, sure, we might not see it tonight. But if it is 10-1, that means for every 10 eye pokes that I see, I'll see one toe poke. But I haven't. So, what is the argument on the glove? I'm not challenging this idea, by the way. I'm trying to learn about this concept of the idea. There are gloves out there, Pride had them, that not only covered the knuckles in a fashion, but they then rounded it slightly. Like in boxing, and we do know the glove can help just because in boxing, we've never seen an eye poke. But we understand there's nothing that it could be poked with. We understand that. So there is an idea, and I have seen prototypes. I am familiar with the concept of certain gloves that curve the fingers down. But is there something within the UFC's choice of glove that puts it out? There must be. But I don't know what that is. And it would also seem that there's a choice in there. If it just held your hand like this, we'd never see knockouts. We would see slap fights. We'd never see anybody knocked out. But there is a choice. Right? There is I'm confused. Why is the glove poking people in the eye? I'm genuinely interested in that. I don't remember Brown or Gaethje poking anybody in the eye. So I don't know that it's from their personal experience. I just haven't seen that. And the gloves, when they come in the locker room, are a little bit stiff. They're brand new gloves. It's not a situation where you can bring gloves that you've broken in, that you had access to, that you trained in, things like this. Even though those are the exact same gloves, which are more than anything specified by ounces of the gloves. And guys get them, and boy, they start wadding them up. The second you get in your locker room, they bring your gloves. The second you get those gloves, you don't put them on. Your coach and your trainer, they start wadding them up, and they start stomping on them. They'll take the chair that you sit in, they'll put it under the leg of the chair, they'll start smashing on the chair with it under, they're trying to break them in. And that's a real thing to some people. I mean, Floyd Mayweather is a very good boxer, he's surrounded by very good boxers. He cares about the manufacturer of a glove and whether or not it has horsehair in it. I had the same response as Conor McGregor when Floyd asked for that. I don't know who makes glove, and I didn't even know horsehair was in it. I could not possibly care less. But Floyd's people said that they were ready for a fight. They're experts and they're witnesses. They were prepared to go to a commission. Conor signing right off. I don't care about those things. So I'm just curious. What is it about the glove that's poking people? What would you like them to do? And why hasn't that been addressed? There are prototypes. There are gloves. The Pride glove is a very different glove. And it didn't change the sport. I don't really get the concept, but there's other guys that believe in that, right? I mean, there's two different size octagons. Are you guys aware of that? They got the small octagon and they got the big octagon. And some guys would not fight in the small octagon. They would negotiate that. It could not be the small octagon. And other guys, you go into boxing, right? Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou had this whole dialogue about, was it going to be a 17.5-foot cage or was it going to be a 15-foot ring? I have no idea. I have no idea. I have been brought in as a sparring partner before because I'm a southpaw. I don't know if I've ever fought a southpaw or not. I fought 51 men. I have no idea if I fought a southpaw, and if I did, I couldn't tell you who it is. I have no understanding at all what it matters. Do you know what makes a southpaw, by the way? It's what leg he leads. What leg is forward? And now he's a southpaw, and that's it. But in some people's mind, boy, that changes everything. The training camp has changed, and the styles are changed. Your strategy is going to be changed. Now, if you ever break that down, whether he leads his left leg or leads his right leg, you need to hit him more times than he hits you. But before you break it down and are reasonable, oh my God, you get some people. And I'm only wondering, what about the glove? I think I'm close, by the way. I think it's that their argument doesn't bend, that your fingers are open. If it's as simple as that, I would understand that. Right? Somebody's offhand to get fatigued of being there. I would understand that. But if it's something other than that, I'm highly curious. I don't see it with the toes. I don't see it in the bare knuckle boxing. I haven't even seen it in the streets where somebody gets it. I'm just not familiar with this. What is it about the glove that is being blamed?